himself. Order. The question is the motion be agreed to. Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that's a bit rich, coming from a man who's been white-henting his leader around Wellington because of David Cunliffe's appalling misjudgment over the donations to his leadership campaign. I'll give Grant Robertson credit for consistency. The things he's saying about Judith Collins, he's also saying about David Cunliffe. I'll give him credit for that. He's the man. Well, no, he didn't say those really nasty things about David Shearer. He just said David Shearer was hopeless. He didn't say he was untrustworthy or had bad judgment. He just said he was hopeless. And, Mr Speaker, therein lies the contrast between the way that this issue with Ms Collins has been dealt with and the way that David Cunliffe, as leader of potentially another government, dealt with his personal issues around the trust that he set up. So, Mr Speaker, and another thing I'll take issue with Grant Robertson, Mrs Collins has worked assiduously in the interests of every New Zealander, and the best measure of that is the lowest crime rates that New Zealand has seen in 30 years. The lowest crime rates we've seen in 30 years. 25% less young people going through our courts. So the member is simply wrong. Mr Speaker.
Order. Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, you have granted an urgent debate on a specific matter. The fact that room is being freed up in the cells for people involved in this, I think, is irrelevant.
Order. That's not a valid point of order. Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, let's be clear about the difference between the handling of this issue and that by David Cunliffe. Mrs Collins has made full disclosure, has accepted that her actions demonstrated some poor judgment. That has been underlined by the Prime Minister and his view that these actions were unwise because they gave rise to a perception of a conflict of interest. Mrs Collins was working as a New Zealand government minister, as we expect all ministers to do, supportive of New Zealand businesses doing business in a difficult market, a challenging market in China. What is very clear, though, is she has made full disclosure and accepted that a misjudgment was made, and that's all been dealt with quite transparently. Let's contrast that with the actions of the leader of the Labour Party. First, he didn't declare his trust. How did that come out? Well, we don't know. We think how it came out is because fellow members of the Labour Party caucus or Labour Party organisation leaked it to the media. Certainly, unlike Mrs Collins, the leader of the Labour Party did not reveal the actions that he took. Ms Collins' actions are clear, both from the response to the Official Information Act request and from her public statements made today. David Cunliffe never brought to the public light that he had set up a secret trust. We found that out by virtue of leaks from the Labour Party. And then David Cunliffe said...
Order. Point of order. recipients.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, you've granted an urgent debate for the House on a matter that is of significant public interest, that is related to Minister Judith Collins. It has nothing to do with David Cunliffe or any members of the Labor Party, and yet that is the majority of the
member will resume his seat. The member will resume his seat. That is a repeat of the an earlier point of order that wasn't a valid point of order. I'm listening very carefully to the debate. The Minister is attempting to respond to the challenge outlined to him by Grant Robertson, and he was within the rules. And I do not want to have another interruption point of order that's invalid from this side of the House. Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I just want to put it on the record that I resent your suggestion that my point of order was invalid. You might have ruled against it, but it doesn't mean
the member
it was
will
invalid.
resume his seat. I have ruled. Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, it's pretty clear.
Order. Honourable Trevor Mallard will stand, withdraw and apologise. Order. Stand, withdraw and apologise.
I withdraw and apologise.
Honourable Bill English.
All the actions of Mrs Collins are clear from the public record. David Cunliffe failed to reveal, as he is required by the Pecuniary Interest Register of Parliament, failed to reveal the existence of his secret trust.
Order. The level of interjection from this side of the House is totally unacceptable. It will inevitably be a robust debate, that I expect. But when the level of noise and interjection gets to the level it's got to now, I will have no choice than to ask somebody to leave this House. Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, well, it's pretty clear the Labor Party don't want to hear the contrasting behaviour of David Cunliffe when he made a severe misjudgment. He did not reveal publicly his secret trust. Judith Collins, through an OIA and her public statements, has revealed all the actions relevant to the potential conflict of interest. We only know about David Cunliffe's trust because of leaks from the Labor Party, from the Anyone But Cunliffe Brigade, led by Grant Robertson, trying to white ant their leader. That's how we know. And, Mr Speaker, we do know that Oravida as a company used the appropriate legal procedures to donate money to the National Party. That is on the public record. We do not know who donated to David Cunliffe because he devised a mechanism to keep it secret. He asked the donors whether they would reveal their identity. Some of them did, 2 of them didn't. How do we know it wasn't Kim.com? We don't know, because the Labor leader, unlike Mrs Collins, has kept in place an arrangement designed to deceive the public. Designed to deceive. And as of today, he still will not reveal those donors. So I challenge David Cunliffe to meet the standard Mrs Collins has met. Go out to the front steps and reveal those donors. He said he didn't know who they were and then said he would give them the money back. So how does he know who to give it back to if he doesn't know who they are? So, Mr Speaker, I want to see David Cunliffe meet the same standards as Judith Collins. Go out to the front steps of Parliament and declare who the secret donors are. And until he does that, the Labor Party have no credibility criticising a minister who has revealed all the relevant actions and all the relevant participants in dealing with this perception of a conflict of interest. So, Mr Speaker, it is a bit rich, but typical of the Labor Party to over-egg this situation, and typical of them to apply to others standards it will not apply to its own leader. David Cunliffe's trust issue remains unresolved. He set out deliberately to create a device to deceive the public by hiding the trust. And actually, he hid it from Parliament. He did not declare it in his register of pecuniary interests. So now he can rise to the challenge put by his deputy leader, Grant Robertson. Because after all, these two are meant to be working together, not separately, as everyone else believes they are. And when Grant Robertson says everything should be revealed, well, I believe David Cunliffe should reveal everything. And until he does, we don't have to take, no one will take any notice of what the Labor Party is saying on this issue.
Order. Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora, ngā mihi nui, kia koutou, kia